Hello everyone, my name is Cheryl Wilson. I'm an abstract artist and I'm from the Washington DC area, right out in the suburbs in Virginia. I'm back home from a long travel of like 2 months up and down the East Coast, but I'm home now. And it sure is good to get back into my studio. So after a couple days of rest, I go back into my routine of my coffee and just my normal things that I love. Being home is great. Being in your own surroundings is incredible. So the video I have for you today is creating abstract flowers with watercolor and different types of acrylics and thicknesses. So let's jump on into my studio. I hope you enjoy this. Hello and welcome back to my art studio. I want to create a type of a floral for you that is very free, very loose, and I feel can be done really by anyone. And that's by using the techniques that I've shared before when I talk about layering. And I'm going to use some of this Sargent's Watercolor Magic. You can just use regular watercolors. I'm going to use this because I have this and I like to use it. Then I'm going to use a golden high flow. So it's about the same liquid. It's a very transparent as the watercolor, but it is a little bit different. And then I'm going to be using a fuller body paint. This is Liquitex. It's a heavy body. So we're going to start with the watercolor. And the basis behind this is to give a layered look, to start with a very fun background, very loose background, and then layer it up so the flowers look like they're off the page. So I may just lightly spray my paper. And I have different colors of the Watercolor Magic, but I'm going to grab just a very medium-sized brush and just put some color on the paper. That's the yellow. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the magenta. This time I'm just going to pour it on. And you see how light and it soaks into the paper. This is watercolor paper, so it is going to act differently depending on the medium that you put it on. But this is watercolor paper, so it's going to soak in really nicely. The next I'm going to do is the high flow, and let's see if I can get this out. Let's put a little water on the paper. Very pigmented, and it will sit on the paper a little bit differently. I'm not gessoing this paper. And then I'm going to add some same magenta so you can kind of see the difference, and get my brush wet and how the layers would be and how they interact with each other. And now I'm going to do a heavy body, and I choose orange because that's what I want to use in the painting. And the reason why is you're just going to see how much thicker this paint is, and it's almost like I like to use my fingers. So when we get to this paint, this is a very heavy body, and then this is a Lukas, and this is a rose, and this is a little bit less heavy body than the Liquitex heavy body. So my, whoops, put a lot there. Let's save some of that for the demonstration. But you can see how thick this is. and how you can layer up your design. So I'm going to dry these, and then we're going to go to, I'm going to use one of these little canvas panels. This is a 6x6. I have a couple of these to kind of just show you the layering process of building this up. But let me dry these three. It's going to take a little bit for that to dry. Okay. So now that we have those down, and you can tell how this really soaked into the paper, that gives a nice, wonderful background. This, while it was just as thin, the high flow has more pigment and it sits more on top of the paper. And then this is definitely very layered, very thick. So the combination of those three together are going to create. So let's put two of these out. They'll both be a little bit different. And I want to start with just a light background to kind of give it a very what do you call it? Very not a lot of, kind of like a very transparent. Okay, let's put a little bit of the magenta. And since this is a panel, it's going to react a little bit differently than the watercolor paper. It's not going to soak in as much. So keep that in mind, depending again on the difference between how it's soaked in to the watercolor paper and how this is going to sit more on top. Still doesn't mean you can't use it. It's just going to react differently. So I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to go ahead and dab. Also add some texture by adding the dabbing. Okay, now we're going to go into adding the layers of the flower. Okay, while those are drying, I grabbed some different types of paints, all different types. You're going to have different types in your art toolbox, more than likely. So I grabbed some Liquitex of Grumbacher, Amsterdam, and Artist Loft, and then of course I have my golden. And I am just going to play, I squirted some out. I'm just going to play with these panels, and I switched them around and put some color down. I also have some green because I'm going to make sure I have some green in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put some green, and then I'm always going to have white. So I'm going to add some green. Different types of green. Kind of portray leaves. I like just having that in the background. Okay, so now we're going to, I'm going to use my finger, and I'm going to just start building some flowers. I'm going to use different watercolors. It's very loose. This is the thicker. Got a little bit of blue in there, so let's go with that on that one. Okay. Get the blue off my finger. So let's do some orange over here. And I'm just going to take the the petals, and they're just going to go all over the place. No rhyme or reason. Mixing some together. Let's take this orange. I'm going to mix some white with the orange. And there's a lighter orange. Let's put orange over here on the edge. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of the magenta here. This is the high flow. I'm just going to fill that in. I need some more watery here. Kind of like a contrast here. Now I want a little bit more of the green. Okay. Now we're missing a little of the contrast, so let's take a brush that's a little bit different thickness. And this is a very unusual brush. It's kind of like a, I don't know if it got damaged or whatever, but it's real little with these little fuzzy things on the end. So I'm going to add just a little, let's see, a blue flower here. And that's going to be just a very, one up here, very loose. This is a very loose, it's, you could almost say it's maybe not an abstract flower. I mean a flower, but more of an abstract, whatever you want to call it. That's just to add a little bit of a balance. Let's see. This one I need something in here. And to top it off, I wanted to add that. I'm going to always add my white in. So I think I need some white in here. It's got a lot of color going on, and I think the white is just going to be what I need to finish off. need a thicker white. Okay, so some places where I may want a little bit of a contrast, I can either dry this because I might be rubbing some of the colors together. So let me dry this first so that I can put a better dab of white down. And we'll put these to the side and let these dry. I'm going to add a full sheet of watercolor paper and work on this one. That was watercolor, and this is high flow white. And since I have a lot of paint out here, let's go ahead and I'm going to do add some green. Let me go ahead with the magenta. This is the Artist Loft, and to me it doesn't work. The feel of it is very plasticky, and I think that's what I'm finding. And that's what you have to be careful. That's not a Artist Loft is not necessarily an artist quality. See the difference between? So I grabbed it because I had that. But be careful sometimes on your paints. So let me do a couple. Get some white in here. So we want to continue the different brush sizes. And add these very whimsical, this pink. Might not be your style, but it is a way to create some fun flowers. Bring some of this orange back in. Okay. This is the high flow. That when I'm getting to the point where I feel like I need a little bit more of a maybe whimsical. I'll bring that in. So there's an orange flower down here. I'm liking this pink one here. And I may want to add some contrast. So let's do some of the okay. And I may want to bring this one more into maybe a white one. Okay, now they're all about the same size, and I don't particularly like that. Oh, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some green, different color greens, and I'm going to use on this one I think I'm going to use some watercolor turquoise. That's kind of like a blue. I'm going to mix it with the green. Let's put some water down. I want to get this very watery. Okay. This is kind of just breaking up the flowers. Okay, so I broke up the thicker flowers with a little bit of the green. We do different things. I'm just splattering in a little different texture. I like that. So let's let that one dry. And I may put some of this green. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to go in with the other and add some of the more watery green to the back of the other. But I'm liking this. I'm liking it, the whimsical look. Let me see if I can move this without it having a problem. Let's bring one of these back. Let's bring some of that watery green in. Gives it some contrast. The point is don't think you've ruined a painting if you do something. Just keep playing with it till you get to something that you like. Again, this is the hardboard, the canvas board, and it's going to react differently. So let's let some of this dry. Bring some of that blue back in. So I made this very watery so that my flower it's almost turned out to one flower here. Let's bring this one over. Okay, let's bring some of the green in. Some of this green is the turquoise watercolor with the green gold. And I'll bring some more of the white in. I like how, okay, and I'm going to sprinkle some more of that green gold. This is even turning out a little bit different. It's a small brush. You can do different things. People made a comment about one of the videos where I smacked my brush down. I love that look, where it's a very, you know, it's a look you can't get with any other type of a paint stroke. So let's let that dry. Let's see. let these dry because they'll look different once they dry. Alright, let's let these dry for a while. So when I turn the camera off, I, of course, can't help but tweak. So I grabbed my paints and I just tweaked the painting, and I decided to add the finished touches and how to go about where I got the frames, how I matted them, important things that just help make a difference in the finished painting. And I added that over on my membership channel. And the reason why I did that is because after talking with several of the people within the membership, those are some of the things that they want, the fine tune and some of the little extras. And so I thought I would add that in over there. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Let me show you how, if you're interested, where you can go to find this information. So depending on what screen, or if you're within the video or outside the video, if you go to my main channel, that's on the top, you'll see it way over on the right hand side, you'll see a join button. After you join, it'll say the word perks, but it'll take you to a screen that kind of tells you about the membership. If you're within a video, then it will pop you up there to right beside my name over on the left hand side that says join. Sometimes it was a little difficult for some people to find it, so I put both screenshots here for you. So once you click on the join button, you'll see these two levels. One is supporter. That's basically to support me and help me with the rising cost of paints and canvases and all those things. And that's just a thank you so much for doing that level. The other is the artisan, and I already have several people that have already joined, and I've already put at least one video out there. So there'll be early access to the videos, at least one in-depth art process video a month. I'm going to add more, I think, to this. I just don't know at this point what. 10% off of any tool in my toolbox, and there's going to be a lot more added there. So there'll be a lot of perks for you, and we'll just see where that goes. And then you'll get loyalty badges and priority replies to my comments as I grow. So I hope you do come out. I would love to have you join, and you can cancel anytime. If you join and it's just not your cup of tea, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Cancel anytime. Just see what it's about, and come join me for a month and just see. So anyway, I hope you give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. There's so much more I want to bring to this channel as I grow, and I appreciate those that leave me sweet comments. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate them from the bottom of my heart. Have a great day.